existence of our iconic document and the manner in which it was drafted, it is a moment also to go down memory lane, to reflect on this document that changed the trajectory of our country. And it is good that we commemorate the Freedom Charter during our country's Youth Month. The Freedom Charter is the lodestar, and better still, the bedrock and the foundation of South Africa's constitutional democracy. In many ways, it provides a sterling example of how a people acting together were able to craft a clear vision of the South Africa that they wanted. South Africa was an oppressive and inhumane place for the masses of our people. At the time when the Freedom Charter was drafted, the apartheid regime was becoming even more bolder, and it was intensifying its vicious actions to subjugate the people of our country and suppress them as they were struggling and fighting for their liberation and equality. We are pleased that our forebears felt the need and indeed the duty to respond to this oppressive regime. This situation did require that the People's Organization, the African National Congress, should respond decisively, and respond decisively it did. This is what led the ANC at its 42nd conference to make a call for the convening of a Congress of the People, which would, in the words of our late comrade Joe Slovo, allow each South African to say for himself and herself what they desire from life. The ANC, together with its allies in the Congress Alliance, made a simple call. This call was, let the people speak. Very typical of the African National Congress. And I'm delighted that this DNA has remained deeply embedded in the sinew, in the blood, and the body of the African National Congress, where over the 108 years of its existence, it has always felt that the people must speak. And 65 years ago, indeed, the people did speak. This simple call to unify South Africans around a common vision was seen as a great threat by the then illegal regime. They understood with perfect clarity that their message of hate and division would not survive once the people were united against them. Our movement did what it has always done best. It sent out nearly 50,000 volunteers into the townships, into the villages across the country to collect the demands of the people in the face of great danger. Now, I'm saying this advisedly so that we all remember the DNA of our movement and where our movement comes from. Thousands of our people gathered in Kliptown on Sunday, the 26th August 1955, and despite relentless harassment and violence from the state machinery, this Congress of the People adopted the Freedom Charter. Now, History Online says it so succinctly, and it says that the campaign for the Congress of the People and the Freedom Charter transformed what was essentially an urban-based movement into a fully fledged national movement. Organizational advances were made in the rural areas as a result of volunteers going around the country collecting demands and making invaluable political contact with people in the rural areas and interacting with traditional leaders, religious leaders, the intelligentsia, and ordinary people, traders and farmers and what have you. Precisely what we continue to do today. We're the only movement that has a wall-to-wall existence and presence throughout the country. The campaign also revived Congress branches in the urban areas that had been weakened after the aftermath of the Defiance campaign. The campaign led to the establishment of numerous local branches as well. And the campaign also introduced within the liberation movement a degree of ideological uniformity and cohesion that did not exist previously. It also succeeded in minimizing ideological feuding and rivalry among members of the Congress. And it's important we should reflect on this. It is during campaigns of whatever nature, and this one was the most iconic campaign ever embarked upon in the history of our country. That it is when we campaign that we are able to unify our movement, to have ideological clarity, and to have greater focus. The type of focus that we also need right now as we are fighting against COVID-19. The Freedom Charter gave greater content and meaning to abstract goals such as freedom, national liberation, and self-determination of the African masses. It gave concrete detail and substance to the slogan, freedom in our lifetime, by articulating what that freedom would mean in practical terms in various spheres of South African life. The Charter provided a clear and concise set of policies. It set out clear aims and objectives and principles of the Congress Alliance. And it also served as a vision of a post-apartheid South Africa, which was to be used as a mobilizing and organizing weapon in the struggle for democracy.